September 8th, and here is our Monday market update. Nikki,
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Good. So awesome news as of Friday and again into today. We saw some major improvement in interest rates due to the housing or the jobs report, I'm sorry, coming in lower than expected. This causes the bond, the 10-year treasury bond to decrease, which will decrease mortgage interest rates. So I was able to lock a couple people in last week at 5.875. So we are definitely into that range, depending on your situation and qualifying. Best news I could have had all year, of course, to get us back down into those five. So hopefully that trend will continue. Another thing helping with this is that there is that expected Fed rate drop next week, which should help kind of solidify the position of the bond market right now. That most of that improvement or most of the expected improvement has always already been reflected in mortgage interest rates. It's that job report kind of just helped push it to the next level or to the next lower level or bring it down. So that's really good news. In my conversations with clients, if you have people who are asking about refinancing, is now the right time? There's a lot of media out there going, rates are at the lowest they've been in 18 months. Yes, this is true, but we need to slow down and calm down. There's a strategy that comes into refinancing. My best piece of advice right now is for clients who are in that above 6% range, above 7% especially, let's take a look. However, there's going to be a price point or a rate point where it's going to make sense to refinance. We don't want to jump the gun too quickly. We expect there's additional rate drops through the end of the year. So my text out to my clients, my calls to my clients are like, hey, I know you're anxious. We're watching, we're waiting, we're watching, we're waiting. We want to ride that wave down to the bottom as much as humanly possible where it makes sense. And then, most of that time we're going to be waiting for about a 5.5. That seems to be the trigger point for a lot of people who are in the 7% and above range. People that are into the sixes, we're going to be waiting till the low fives and kind of just saying, okay, let's see if this makes sense. So unless there's some other need, you need cash out of equity in the home, the taxes went up and you have too high of payments, other things that might trigger you to want to refinance earlier than normal. Let's just calm down and wait a little bit for rates to come down even further. With that said, on the flip side, let's talk about home purchasing. What this, rate environment is going to do is it's going to start to stimulate your pipeline. It's going to start to get people to say, okay, is now the right time? Is now I've been waiting, I've been waiting, I've been waiting. And again, great, that's awesome. We definitely want to keep in touch with our pipeline for anyone that has even mentioned the word buying in the last year. Relook at your interest rates, relook at your pre-approval, get yourself into a position to strike while the iron is hot. The reason that I say that is there's going to be a point in time where interest rates are going to start coming down solidly into the fives. But then what happens is those home prices start to creep up because the demand is higher as these interest rates go down. So it's very important that we catch those clients in that in between where the home prices haven't skyrocketed and the interest rates are still low. I think we talked about this, I want to say about a year ago, year and a half ago, when it was like, hey, we're in that spot again where we're coming into summer and interest rates are now down into the sixes as opposed to the sevens. We want to catch people in that in-between market so they can take advantage of the lowering interest rates before the home prices increase. Get in while this, before the demand becomes increasingly higher. There are a lot of homes sitting on the market right now. There's great deals to be had right now. I'm telling you, like, especially in the Arizona market, there have been homes that have been sitting on the market for, 60, 70 days that have had little to zero activity where you can start to make, good deals. We are seeing some foreclosure activity also in the state, higher than what we would normally see this time of year. So in this market, there could be some opportunities for you to be able to purchase a home in a smart way. And what do we always say? You make money when you purchase the home, not when you sell the home. So it's important that we reach out to our pipeline, start re-stimulating those buyers, start getting those people back in line and saying, hey, where are your interest rates at? Where are you pre-approved at? What can we do? What can we look at?
Yeah, this is truly a sweet spot. Remind me of the stat. For every 0.5% or percent that the rate goes down, how many buyers enter the
5
market?
million, 5
Huh?
million buyers, 5 million buyers in the market. For every percentage rate, the interest rates go down. So there is
Yeah.
going to be increased competition. Also with the oil prices OPEC has basically announced that they're going to increase their oil production, which kind of puts on hold the drill baby drill situation in the United States. That when we have oil production in the United States, that also affects the bond market, which could help lower those interest rates. So if that's what happens and OPEC's, increases their production and satisfies the need for oil, and we aren't drilling within the United States, that could absolutely affect the amount of time it takes those interest rates to go down. That's a whole secondary discussion and a whole another Monday update for us to talk about. But all these factors are playing in, but like I said, we're looking at those interest rates to start creeping down again, and hopefully we'll start getting solidly into the fives, if not the 5.5 range by the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So now truly, truly get in front of it is what I'm
Yes.
hearing. If you've had a perfect reason to be reaching out to any buyer who's put on hold, who maybe lost out, who's even mentioned buying, if you can get them in the race in the market in the next month or two before it catches up and prices go up, the 5 million buyers are out there now
Mhm.
pre-approved and ready to go, and your competition. Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true.
And just a couple other reminders. This goes for sellers too. Sellers are motivated at that five
Yeah.
and a half percent range. No matter if they have a 2% or a 3% or a 4% on their current mortgage, they are motivated once those interest rates start hitting that 5.5% mark. That's what the statistics tell us. That's what the surveys tell us. That's what all the data tells us, is that 5.5 is kind of that breaking point. If it goes 5.5 or under, a lot of people don't necessarily worry about their 3% to 5%. They're not going to go from 3% to 7%, as we know, but 3% to 5% isn't all that much of a stretch for them if they consider, what they're doing from that standpoint.
Yep. It's so true. And I put a post out about new construction incentives. And once you get into it, I found that that was only for existing, ready to sell new construction, not build from the ground up, some of those incentives. And the point is that my seller who wants to become a buyer, when she was thinking and talking about it, it wasn't as painful going
Yep.
from the 3 point whatever to 5.5, and she's been sitting and waiting, doesn't want to be in the home, but will deal with it,
Yeah.
so if you can figure that out. So I'm going to reach out to her again
Yeah,
today and see what that
absolutely.
looks like now
And
that
just a
this
reminder,
information
like in that new construction environment, it's still competitive enough where a lot of those new builders will not
comes.
take contingent offers. And so that's a huge deal too. That is expected to continue because as these interest rates go down, again, demand is going to go up. So if you have a home to sell, you're going to want to talk to your realtor and see if they can negotiate a contingent deal or talk to me. There are things that we can do to make you a non-contingent buyer as you go into offer on different homes. Like we have
Yes.
cash buying programs, we have equity. You can get equity from the prior home programs, things of that nature where we can really help you position yourself as a non-contingent buyer.
So, so very important. I love it. No, that's amazing. Great, great news. And now what do we do with it? So definitely reach out to Nikki right away. Have your buyers reach out, anyone that was on the fence. Any questions you have, it's so, so important to show up and get ahead of these other 5 million buyers. Sell
Absolutely.
side, same thing. If you have these sellers that are thinking about refinancing, get them in line with Nikki right away, because then like she said, it's watch and wait, watch and wait. And when we can ride that wave at the bottom, when that makes sense, it's kind of like options and stocks. You can watch
Yeah.
it, and then when it hits, then you pull the trigger. It's
Yep.
not an emotional thing. It's a
The business
statistic
thing.
and
Yeah.
stat
Yeah.
business decision.
Also, if you go to my website, kevnickmortgage.com, I do a Monday morning blog on that website as well that is shareable content for social media. Today's blog is actually about the right time to purchase, talking about different, in things that within the market that could influence whether or not a buyer is ready to buy and how to really overcome those objections.
Yes.
So
Perfect. Go there right now. Get
awesome.
it. And Nikki, I love that you have given us permission, as I let all agents know. Follow Nikki online, go to her website. She is opening this up to us so that we can be educated and educate, which will set you apart as an agent on social media. So the solds are great, posting solds all over the place, but educate. And I found that agents that show up like you do as a lender really do much, not better or different, but they just come from a different contribution. a
Mhm.
place of contribution and wanting to help and wanting to educate. And if you can set yourself apart as the voice of reason, of education, of knowing, so when anyone thinks about real estate in your sphere, they're going to think of you because you're showing up at a different and much higher level. Impactful, I guess, would be a
Yes,
good word.
impactful, valuable, absolutely. Education, relationship based, things that really project long-term business.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Nikki. As always, this is fantastic. I will get this going, whether you're listening on YouTube, on the podcast, on social media. If you can comment, like, subscribe, go to Nikki's website, support her, support this show. We just want to get the word out to as many people as we can and make an impact.
Absolutely. All right.
All
We'll
right.
see you
We'll
guys
see
next
you
week.
next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.